Peter Garrett, and you're living the low life.
Ride low and slow, living the low life, living the low life. Ride low and slow, living the low life, living the low life.
Today on Livin' the Low Life, it's the top guys.
If they don't think I'm doing a good job, they can, whoever wants to step to the plate.
We'll learn it all from those who have been honored.
That's the number one thing my dad taught us: do things right or don't do it.
It's the Lowrider Hall of Fame.
That whatever award I've gotten and I've been selected, I earned.
Ride low and slow, living the low life, living the low life. Drop the bomb!
Let's take a ride. Let's take a ride. Today we'll be looking into the Lowrider Hall of Fame. Created by Lowrider Magazine, the Hall of Fame celebrates the lowrider movement. These are the men that changed the way those of us in the low life both live and ride.
The Hall of Fame began in 2005, honoring a lifestyle that has spanned decades.
50, 60 years of low riding. The stronger years, I'd say it probably had to go back to the early 70s. And these guys were already there and they were doing their work, and people watched, and I want that, and that's the color I want my car to be that low, and they're all a part of this. They've ruined all of us, you could say.
Without a Lowrider Hall of Fame, these great lowriders would never be recognized, and we think it's about time, and that's the passion that we put behind this induction ceremony every year.
In that first year, 3 very special pioneers were chosen.
Inducted in 2005, L. Larry Gonzalez received the first award for Lifetime Contributor.
Larry was a pioneer.
He was also a top promoter, a car show innovator, and a key player in the creation of Lowrider Magazine, all before anyone could envision the explosion of the movement.
He goes way back in the days when the lowrider icon with a hat, where all of that came from, everything.
He inspires fellow Hall of Famers.
L. Larry, he's the man. He's the one that gave me my first start, L. Larry. When I first started the club in '92, he let me go to behind the scenes and see what it was all about, so I thank Larry for that.
I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's done. He's very underrated.
The leadership honor in 2005 went to Julio Ellis, whose legacy lives on in the Deuce Car Club.
Julio passed away in 2007, but before that, he and his brothers created and led the oldest existing lowrider club, now 29 chapters strong.
Julio was more about showing a positive image so that we can gain respect. That's what he was about. And that's why he's greatly missed and well remembered.
He also left a legacy of car collecting at its best.
We all at one time owned 30, 40 cars.
But when you're running a business like these guys, cars come and go.
Julio kept his cars. You know, there's a difference. He was a true collector.
Yeah, the little sticker in the window there, you know, my uncle, the first president of the car club, passed away over a year and a half ago. And that's the last time I drove this car, was to the funeral. And I haven't driven it since, except for today.
The 2006 Lifetime Contributor Award is a man who's turned promotion into an absolute art form.
He was honored for almost single-handedly giving life to the movement in one whopper of a state.
Nick Hernandez received a Lifetime Achievement. Very well loved. It shows the greatest shows you can ever go to out there. Texas, they've got the cars.
We give Nick a ton of credit to keeping the sport alive in that Texas market. Without Nick, we truly believe that sport might dwindle away.
Nick knew one key fact.
It's the heart of lowriding. Without promoters, there wouldn't be any of this.
Mario de Alba received the Craftsman honor in 2006. And if you ask any lowrider, Mario and the Hall of Fame were meant for each other.
Welcome to the party.
Mario's love of cars started long before he created a family of builders.
I had a passion for cars since I was a kid. I always thought
Maybe one day, I wish that I could learn to construct one of those cars, and time went by, I kept at it. It was my dream.
It was a dream that led to an absolute dynasty.
They've been around for a long time. He's got the whole family working. He's got all the kids painting, and they're innovators, all of them. I mean, they break out with a car, the next thing you know, it's this, it's that, it's this pattern. They do it all. They're pearls, down to the little kids with the pedal pushers, the wagons. They do it all because of that man.
Dad's rules were, he's gonna go to work, we had to go to work also.
He showed me how to be a good man, and be responsible. That's the number one thing my dad taught us. Do things right or don't do it.
I like all the cars. Muscle cars, race cars, anything that's got anything to do with cars. But my favorite is low riding. And I'll be a low rider for life.
In 2006, the Leadership Honor Award went to Joe Ray, one of the most prominent symbols in lowriding today.
As both the editor of Lowrider magazine and the top man in the Lifestyle Car Club, Joe Ray helped to bring recognition to these rolling works of art, becoming essential to those on the street who like driving them slow and insist on driving them low.
Joe's been a great car club president. Joe's a leader day in and day out.
I love cars. What are you going to do? You're not going to take me away. There's not going to be, I'm on my second marriage now, and that woman now knows what it's all about.
And part of that lifestyle was all about creating rides like the Vegas car and Dressed to Kill.
I wanted to have authentic murals like some of the best vans did. So whatever the cost was or whatever the time, that's what I did. I thought, man, that's the baddest skeleton I've ever seen, so I have to have that on my trunk.
Get ready for the top honorees of 2007. They're all coming up next. 2007 was a great year for the Lowrider Hall of Fame. Lowrider paint jobs changed forever when our next inductee asked his mother what she would paint on her '64 Chevy Impala.
And the answer Jesse Valadez received from his mom? Well, it was the daring notion of painting flowers on a pink and red car.
My dad was a very big influence within the lowriding industry.
Jesse showed lowriders that boundaries were gone.
One of the world's most famous lowrider Gypsy Rose came out in Chico and the Man in 1974, the year that I was born, and that was featured in the opening credits.
After Gypsy Rose, new techniques became common.
The name Lowrider paint job, all the fades and the candies and the flakes. Like the Gypsy Rose is probably the most famous car of having all the crazy paint job on it, with all the webbing style paint all down the side of it and the roses and all the pinstriping all over it.
He wasn't afraid to put flowers on a car, and he said that.
With the car appearing weekly on Chico and the Man, the lowriding community had a national symbol of pride.
He made everybody a movie star. We're all proud to be lowriders. We were breaking down, we had oil on our driveways, blowing up batteries, getting pulled over by the cops. But you know what? 6 o'clock tonight, we're on TV again. So he represented everybody.
When I was growing up and remembering Gypsy Rose, it was too much for me. As a painter, it's like an artist, He wrote his name on that car. You could never duplicate that paint job.
Not only did our next Hall of Famer found a club that celebrates the classics, but he's also never missed a car show in his long and distinguished career as an enthusiast. In short, Ricardo Alvarado is devoted.
I'm maybe one of the only ones that have been around, and I haven't quit. I've been going year after year to most of the shows. I haven't quit for over 30 years.
And that devotion is one reason he's been elected president of the Oldies for over 3 decades.
They don't think I'm doing a good job. They can, whoever wants to step to the plate,
They could.
I'll become a member.
Because it's a lot of responsibilities, right?
Yes, it is.
He had never missed a show since day one. He's been at every show.
That's dedication. I know he's missed a lot of family events because of it. He fell behind on house payments because of car shows, because he was going to put the money in the car.
In all my years of shows, I've counted maybe 400, 500. So what's he done, 1,000? You want to talk about dedication?
It's dedication Ricardo proudly wears both on his hand and on his arm.
Being elected into the Hall of Fame from thousands of guys, it's a good feeling.
It's called lowriding. But this next 2007 inductee knew the art of making these rides a whole lot higher.
One of the founders of the Professionals Car Club, hydraulics pioneer Ted Wells, was an innovator. Back when it took a lot of trial and error to figure out the ups and downs of radical suspension.
Ted Wells, OG, mighty person, very knowledgeable, Presto King.
I was 13 years old, and this is like in 1967. And the guy came to my mother's house, and he pulled up in the driveway, and he just let the car down. And I was in shock. And I looked at the car like, what the? I was hooked right then. It was over with.
The first time I met him, he had a Bob & Sons interior. He was at a car show, predominantly vans, hot rods, Mercs, muscle cars, running around wild, loose, skipping, hopping, jumping up and down because he just won interior. And then I go, well, I gotta go see that interior, see how great it is. Because he's celebrating a little bit too much, but you know why he was celebrating? Because he went in there as a black guy, 1. 2, as a lowrider. 3, to dare with a velvet interior and beat all those hot rods in those vans.
He also dared to broaden the landscape of lowriding.
He's an ambassador to all of this.
It's in my blood. Standing at that counter, filling with a dump, putting stuff together, and dreaming up new ideas, and I'll never stop.
2007 was a great year for the Lowrider Hall of Fame. And when the first memorial honor went to Joey Abeyta, there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
He was the longtime president of the Group Car Club. But in 1992, Joey and members of his family were killed when their Honda Prelude was hit by a street racer.
Actually, when I got into the game, he had just popped in there too. I mean, it was the disco era I remember him the most of. The thing that was great about him, though, is that he would always support our car club just by knowing him, whether we traveled to Bakersfield or farther than that and got into it with somebody, hopefully not, because we'd have a lot to lose with the nice cars and all. But he would let me know, we're right here.
Unfortunately, his life was cut short, but his legacy lives on to this day.
The 2008 inductees defined lowriding at its best. And when the award was given out for a lifetime contributor, many knew that it was long overdue.
The organization had already inducted Julio Ellis from the Duke's Car Club, but Julio's younger brother Fernando also deserved a place in the Hall of Fame.
The car club was established around 1962, officially, family, all the brothers, myself, Ernie, Oscar, and my brother Julio.
Fernando, lifetime, yeah. He's been everywhere.
That's the man, the myth, the legend. Right here in this month's Lowrider magazine, inducted to the Lowrider Hall of Fame.
The family claims lowriding was an escape from gang life.
My uncles and my dad, started from the 38th Street gang and said at one time, you know what, we want to evolve from this and start a car club, something positive. And that's what they've done. And, co-founding in 1962 to now.
So you guys are credited for starting lowriding, is that correct? Tell me a little bit.
I don't want to say yes on that, but I would like to say that we're one of the first pioneers.
He taught me something that was valuable. That's why I have so many chapters, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Duke's Car Club was the first club to ever chapter out to different cities.
That whatever award I've gotten and I've been selected, I earned. I'm proud of that.
The 2008 memorial honor went to Gary May, a man who's made hopping just as popular as riding low and slow.
Gary wasn't just an innovator when it came to hopping. He was also a class act when it came to competition.
Gary May was a hydraulic guru. He's one of the first guys to get out there and compete with the best. And he was also a pioneer when it came to hydraulics. He was taking apart the regular lift gates.
He was an innovator. I mean, his nickname was the Wizard for a good reason. I mean, most of the things that everybody uses now to make their cars really jump is something that Gary came up with.
That brother right there, I knew him when he was alive. And he put it down for a lot of people, and he did elevate the game for all the hoppers that are out there.
A lone wolf who never joined a car club, Gary was a generous man.
Some of his competitors were the guys who were going to compete with him probably the next day. And he would get out there and help them fix their cars.
If you find somebody that didn't like Gary, they're not on this planet, okay? He was the greatest guy you could ever want to know.
Ruben Budd Ochoa was given craftsmanship honor in 2008. And if you've seen his paint jobs, you know why.
Innovator, great painter. Back in the days, because he was curious, he wanted to know how to paint. He was a leader of quite a few car clubs there. And he had to be a leader when it came to paint.
He's been painting close to 40 years, and he's put his stamp on many lowriders across this country.
Bugs Ochoa, crazy guy. That guy's a comedian. Best painter, best attitude of a person that you ever meet. Straight OG.
The leadership honor in 2008 went to Julio Ellis, the much-loved founder of the groundbreaking Ooze Car Club.
I'm like a hippie style kind of guy, child. You know, I'm a 70s boy, so now I just put all that incorporated. Plus my people, the Samoan race, we're real honorable and traditional. So I figured that I'd incorporate that in my club and show them, you know, the bow down and respect and honor and cherish instead of all the I'm better than this and that. Because I think that with love, that's what makes the world go round, and that's what I base my club on is love. I'm not trying to brag, but my class of 2008, I'm honored to be with these guys, you know?
He was the one that finished up that night for us, and he left that whole crowd in a whole different mood. The whole place was full of love.
Lowriders are just like any other facet of life. We're all working people. We all work hard for our money. I mean, there is that 10% ballers out there that are doing illegal things. They get their cars, but that's not our fault that we love the same type of cars. Maybe you guys should get a lowrider and find out what it's all about.
He's the oldest member of the Lowrider Hall of Fame, interior wizard Bob Mercado.
Bob Mercado was inducted in 2005, and when he was given the Craftsman honor, there wasn't a lowrider in the world that had to wonder why.
You cannot top the quality of his work, the craftsmanship of his work. I mean, you can look, this is 10 years old and it's not falling apart, it's not faded. And I drive this all the time. I drive in the weekend, I go to car shows, it's in the sun and it still looks new. You look at it yourself, it still looks good because of the quality in his craftsmanship and the way he builds interior. There's a lot of guys out there that looks good, about 2-3 years, they're faded, they're falling apart, come on. Bob builds it professional, that it lasts forever.
It's different because he's like a father figure. When my dad passed away, he was there for my pops. I'll never forget that. But I think he did like 3 or 4 upholsteries for me. I wish he could just do one more.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I started in 1955.
Was it something that you had a passion for and it was just a hobby to you and then you said, I might as well do this as a business, or how did it work?
No, I always loved it. I always loved cars. I don't know, it just came to me.
He was the best upholsterer ever. I mean, he's in his 80s now. I wish a lot of times he was back in his 50s. I would go beg, borrow, or steal to have one of his interiors again.
And here's just a couple of reasons why.
And you shouldn't keep this in a box. You should keep it out here somewhere.
I'm gonna have
Hall
to
of Fame. Not a lot of people can say that they're in the Hall of Fame.
Uh-huh.
You're the man, Bob.
Yeah. Hall of Fame.
The best you'll get, by far. I mean, once he's gone, there's not gonna be no touching him, really.
When I'm up there laying in my casket, put this thing up there and say, hey, the man's gone.
The Hall of Fame is going to be around as long as the sport of lowriding is going to be around. And with that being said, lowriding is going to be here forever, so will the Hall of Fame.
Today, we're living the low life thanks to those who were inducted into the Lowrider Hall of Fame. Thanks for joining us, and I'll catch you in the slow lane. See you later. The leadership honor in 2008 went to That's just like part of the show. Like, do you know that we only shoot where there's an airport or a train station or anything that's really noisy. Did you know that? If you did it, now you do.
Living the low life.